Hey, yesterday I was in a train and I was asking people to follow reduce CO2 now on social media. And then one person said really like, why should I do this? What makes you different from like Fridays for Future? Why should I do this? Why should I actually bother, supporting you? And then I said, hey, that's really a very good question. And then I said, okay, let's talk about this. And we went through quite a lot of points, I just want to give you now the whole summary because that was a very, very important thing. Getting clear about what are we making different, it was like our approach. So one of the first things is that we are solution oriented. Fridays for Future is like, you're protesting, there's a problem. And that's like what people do. There's a problem and people focus on the problem. Yeah. But the thing is, you shouldn't be focusing on the problem, you need to be focusing on the solutions. It's like when you're driving a car and suddenly there's something in front of you. If you just look at the obstacle, you are going to drive into the obstacle. You have to look for the solution, like the open space. Actively look for this. Or when you are driving like on a racetrack, the people who are really good, they just see the solution, where they don't look at the other car, they look at where they can pass. So that's like one of the things. And we have solutions developed and we are developing more, but we already have like 3-4 very sound solutions to make this work on a global scale. So, and then this is like one of the clear points. Then another point is we have a very powerful metric. We know what to do. It's about CO2. And then there's other greenhouse gases. Yeah, but we focus on like the most important one, and something will be taken around on the other ones as well, but we go for the most important one, CO2. Clear metric, clear results. We can really measure this. It's not like we are just going around and trying something. No, it's really clearly measurable. It's even like you just measure it, how much CO2 is in the air. Next, global. We are approaching this not with a local solution. We have to do something in the European Union, which is already doing some stuff. No, we have to approach this on a global scale, because it doesn't really matter if Germany is all going electric and we are like really green and everything. That would be nice and good, and it's part of the solution. But if the rest of the world, like the United States right now, are just burning this stuff all over the place, we are not going to make any difference in the whole world. No. And even if we just say, we are just making green energy, and then like the fossil fuels become really less, they become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper because people are still producing them, nothing is changed. Yeah, because then, that thing becomes cheaper and then it's going to be used as well and it's going to get burned all over the place. So we need global thinking, not just like local thinking. We have to like think this on a whole global scale, because like just doing one thing in one area is doing all over the place in all areas. That's good, but like you have to think on a global scale. So, and then it's really about being smart, evidence-based, affordable and scalable solutions, low tech and high tech, because that's like one thing. Usually like we Europeans and Americans, we think in our ways, we think, the problem has to be solved with something like technology. Or it should be solved with like bureaucratic. The Germans, we bring bureaucracy here to the point. Everything has to be certified and it has to be made very complicated, so that it just works for like people in the EU, maybe in USA. But that doesn't work all around the world. So we need smart solutions. They must be evidence-based, so there must be science behind it. That's like the whole thing as well. Really affordable, that somebody who doesn't really have a lot of training and lives somewhere, let's say in Malaysia, Asia, Africa, South America, which are all part of the global solution, can just do it, and not like first go to the German TÜV and ask for certification to do something, because then he's going to pay like 10,000, 100,000 euros before he's ever starting to earn money. No, that doesn't really work as well. So, and there should be like low-tech and high-tech solutions. The solutions aren't really the problem. If you look at this and you start looking for solutions, they aren't really the problem. The problem is how to spread them around. Yeah? And there's also like carbon credits are already sold in the European Union. They go for something like 100 to 200 euros and stuff like this. So per ton of CO2. So one of the major points where we are different from Fridays for Future is system thinking. You know, it's really like you look at the whole world like a system and you do a system-based approach. And that's a really cool thing. And, you know, I have like, you know, I started my PhD thesis was around system thinking. And it's incredible if you start to use this kind of approach. It's really different. Lots of people don't know what is system thinking. You know, it's like, yeah, but it's really, really, you know, to have breakthrough results, really new results, out of the box thinking is usually coming from something like system thinking. So that's like how to approach something and what kind of solutions you want to have. You know? So, and there we use the whole world as a system. So that's like one of the differences. And then we want to address like the silent majority of people because, hey, most people in the world, they just don't know what to do. You know, most people just, you know, have no real knowledge about CO2 and climate change and so on. They have maybe some feelings and so on, some thoughts, you know, but knowledge isn't really very much around. You know? So that's like one of the things. And most people see, oh, there's a problem, but what I'm going to do, you know? I don't know. Yeah, maybe I take the bicycle every now and then. Yeah, that is good, you know. But like that's why we look at to address all these people all around the world, and that's what we are going to do. We're going for the people with the people. So we are going to address all around the world in all kinds of languages. We want to have 100 plus, I don't know how many languages there are really in the world where that we can address like 99.9% of the population in their languages. Still have to look this up. We are going to have probably 100 plus languages where we have people from that region speaking to people in that region. Like, you know, we have somebody on board from Africa and he said, you know, you can't speak to Africans like to Europeans. No, yeah, that's why I said, yeah, exactly that. That's why I have you, and you're going to lose your language, Songhai in this case, to speak to your people. And we have Kiswahili and another one as well. So we have like more languages and more to come. So we want to have like, use the languages to address the people in that region, in their language. They know the culture, they know how to make people aware of this. So that's like the difference. We're not just like going around and saying, hey, we do this in Germany. Yeah, good thing, you know, of course, you know, with Germany, one thing. But hey, we have to do this on a global scale. So involve all kinds of people in their language, in their culture, because, hey, I don't know, even to speak to a German from, you know, you see that it's complicated. You know, if as a man, even to speak to a woman, we have problems. Yeah, okay. But then, like, you know, I'm from like one part of the country in Germany, and there are other parts of the country, like here we're in Bavaria. Yeah, they're different. You know, and even then there's like the East and so on. There's like differences already inside of Germany how to address people. Yeah. But, you know, imagine that you're like, I'm a German, I don't know really that if I want to address people in, Arabic people in like the UAE or in the Gulf region, I can't really do this effectively. You know, we need somebody who's in that region, who knows to address people there. That's like the key thing. We want to have the people who address their people, but we want to bring one message, science-based and so on, and solutions. So, and then, well, really, one of the prior to last things, we are not just like, hey, panic, you know, there's this film Aircraft, oh, take your panic positions. No, we are saying, hey, yeah, of course, you know, if we go on like this, it's really predictable that this planet is going to look like the dinosaurs, you know, when it was around. It will be completely different, and we made this in such a short time into, you know, if we just go on like this, the planet will really, really change very rapidly into something, yeah? Which has been there like 60 million years ago, 50, 30 million years ago, really long time ago. Because, hey, people talk about the year 2100, but if you're just going on putting more stuff out, it's not going to stop in the year 2100. It's 200 years later, then we have, if we just pump up the CO2 in the planet of 1000 or 2000 ppm, the whole climate will go havoc. It's already going havoc, sort of, but you know, that's like 100 times more. So we are saying, hey, yeah, something has to be done, really. There's like, don't panic, but we can really do something about this. We can really change like the way we eat, the way we use agriculture, the way we take back CO2 out of the air. And then, of course, strangle the production of CO2 things like fossil fuels. That's possible. So all parts of the plan. And then like the last one is we say, hey, if politics would have saved the world, it's really easy. Like the message for politics, it's really simple to solve the problem of climate change. All the producer, and this is like only 20 to 30 countries, really majorly of fossil fuels, they agree, all the politics, 20 to 30 countries agree, we are producing 100% right now, and we are going like 20 or 30 years, we are telling the world like next year we are just producing 5% less fossil fuels. And then we go on like 5% less every year or something like. You just make a curve and tell the world, hey, we are going to produce overall less fossil fuels all around the world. And we are going to do it in like 20, 30 years that the world has more than enough time to actually develop something, technology and put this into practice and so on. And that everybody knows, it's going to be less, the prices are rising, so we have to do something. And like solar energy, of course, is like already the cheapest one and stuff like this. The problem of global warming will be solved. And then, they could just, one thing is politics says, we are reducing to zero. Then we put out some effective sequestration methods to put in the CO2 back into the ground. Problem solved. We can just go and say, hey, we stop burning fossil fuels in 30 years and we are going to implement solutions where we take the CO2 back. And then we can say, hey, we could even choose what kind of CO2 level we want to have on the planet. We can geoengineer the planet. We could say, hey, like maybe 425 is where we are around today, 425, 430. That's probably too much. Hey, let's go for something like 350. Yeah? Could be possible. We can actually do that. We could decide how much CO2 should be in there for a very good normal climate of the world. That's possible. We don't have to go to something like 150 because that would be like an ice age, or 170. But we really can geoengineer the planet. That's possible. We could just decide as a world and say, hey, but do you see the problem here? That would mean like 30 countries like USA, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, all kinds of countries which are so closely linked together, which they would have to do one thing and do this for 30 years and plus more. And do you think that's ever going to happen in how the world is right now? We probably need some aliens to get something like a world government, but no, that's not going to happen. So the world is like it is. We are not going to change the world here. We are just going to change CO2. And that's why we say, hey, politics, they can still do their thing. It's not that I'm saying that but our solution is not based on that politics is doing anything. We are saying, hey, we are going to do something where we implement companies, procedures, ideas, startups, market mechanisms, which will change the world. We just need to boost them up. Like, for example, hey, let's make the fossil fuel storage fund, an investment fund where we are investing in liquid gold, or fossil fuels in general, buy them and keep them in the ground. Because the whole problem of like fossil fuels is, redistribution of wealth. Countries like Europe are paying other countries for that stuff. Yeah? So it's just like redistribution of wealth. Some areas of the world, like the Saudi Arabia, become very, very, they have lots of money just because they are sitting on some stuff. So we have to find a solution for that the prices for fossil fuels are increasing and the demand is decreasing because like we have alternatives. So the thing is we have to bring up the price, lower the availability of that stuff in a market mechanism. Huh? That's one thing. Another thing is, hey, we have to get things back out of the air. So we are doing like a worldwide thing, eBay for carbon credits, where you can make a carbon credit product, low scale, Really simple. You just document this, like with your smartphone, with photographs, and then you can sell it on eBay. It's like you do eBay. It's nobody is certifying your product on eBay. It's like you make photographs of the stuff and then you sell it. And we do the same thing for carbon credits. That somebody in Africa, Asia, where stuff is growing, the green stuff, biomass, we have to put it back in the ground. Really simple. Somebody is buying or has got like a piece of land, is reforesting. He can sell these carbon credits all around the world. Real thing. And we make it like we will include satellite imagery and stuff like this, that it's possible to verify that the people are not cheating. Good. So, and then what else did we have? Yes, of course, the whole area of food. The whole world would eat CO2 optimized, and we wouldn't be, especially in there are so many people which are obese, overweight, and so on. So we are eating too much. The whole world is eating too much. Then there's so much food waste. There's like in the industrialized nation, almost double the calories are produced for what people need. And then just go to healthy amount of eating, go to not waste food, and then go to a CO2 optimized diet. Then suddenly like 80% of the agricultural space of the world can be reforested. That's going to make a huge dent in CO2 if we reforest the world, and reduce agriculture. And by the way, we can feed the whole world already. It's like there has to be nowhere any kind of hunger crisis because there's so much stuff produced all around the world. But like huge, rainforests are cut down to feed animals, which are then, and so on. Okay, so that's like all kinds of solutions available. And the idea is that we don't wait for politics to say you have to eat like this, but like to use social media to raise awareness and then implement solutions and get people together and say, hey, don't talk about all these different diet kind of things, all your things. Hey, make your CO2 diet. If you ever talk about diet, if you're like a health professional, if you are like marketing diet products, go for stuff which is CO2 optimized. Hey, really, go for this. Because, like if everybody would just eat what they really need and CO2 optimized and we are not wasting any food in the world, then suddenly we just need very, very few production space and we can reforest the whole world. So lots and lots of stuff. If a lot of people would do the same thing, then suddenly we will have really a great impact. So that's like a summary of all the things which I see right now in this video, which make us really different from something like Fridays for Future, where you're just going around and protesting and say somebody else has to do it. No, not somebody else has to do it. We have to do it. We take this on, we build this up, and everybody can take your part. If you want to join, come to us. Thank you very much for watching. Please follow the channel and share.